I hope y'all are doing well. We're here for our midweek alchemy message. And boy, it be alchemying. It is like very just straightforward and really continuous with everything that we've been talking about this week. So we've got the Raven's Head from the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, followed by Copper, followed by Sulfur. Underneath the Raven's Head, we have 3 of Pentacles. Underneath Copper, we have 10 of Pentacles. And then underneath Sulfur, we have 6 of Pentacles. All right, I'm going to let you guys listen to the quick audio and look at the layout, and then we'll come right back. We've been invited this week to enter into a new level of growth and development. We are attuning our vessel to align with our higher truth and purpose. This inner change reveals a deeper sense of clarity and resoluteness. It is as if we've been given a peek behind the curtain, and now we have the cheat codes for unbeatable strategy in navigating life's gauntlet. We are attuning our vessel to channel through the light of our potential destiny. We see how everything in our lives has played an integral role in the revelation of our higher self, the expression of who we really are as we dismantle the ego and refine our soul into the unification with our spirit. And as channels for God's light, we realize that God is source, the power, the grid, the network. God is in control and conducting this unified symphony through every measure. It finds divine harmony in striking and unexpected beauty. Trust and surrender is the key to our ultimate legacy and fulfillment. We control nothing. We proactively take responsibility for everything, and we make every effort whilst simultaneously understanding that we are merely a channel, and if not us, another would have served. Radical responsibility coupled with ultimate humility and appreciation. So you may have noticed as well that all of our tarot cards are in the Pentacles suit, and by nature, every alchemy card implies an internal process. So overall, this whole reading is implying that our internal process is yielding outer results. The Raven's Head is a call to the lab. It's an invitation to the alchemist to come into the realm of study again for a new adventure, right? And so we've been preparing ourselves and knowing that we are coming to the next level of our journey in our leveling up. And we've been going through this initiative portal into that next phase. And it's like the chapter is opening and the door is opening to this new lab, to all these new materials, all these new possibilities. And so we're being called in once more to take up the work. Not like it ever ends, but this is a new journey. We completed something. It's like we went through a graduation and now we're ready to begin again at a new level, at a higher level. And here we have 3 of Pentacles, which is the kind of first phase of completion in the journey of creation as far as numerically, as it is represented in the tarot. The 3s are the first stage of completion. The 6 represents reaching the second phase of completion, and 9 represents the final stage of completion, and 10 is the overflow. So the Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles also talks about reaching like a kind of a next level of self-mastery. You're out of your wet behind the ears stage. You're beyond just a student and learning. You're pro-am, right? You're reaching kind of into the next level of expertise, and you're starting to be recognized for that in your field. And then, the universe is sending components and parts together to work with you now at this level of building. And there might be co-collaborators, or there might be people who see and recognize recognize and appreciate your talents or your skills or your vision or what you're doing, and they want to help or they want to work with you. So this is really great. We're going into a next phase, and we're also seeing how in the grand scheme of the matrix of this interactive holograph that is the game of life, we're understanding how others play a part and they play a role in our development, even the antagonists, especially the antagonists. And so that's been like a little peek behind the curtain this week to see that if we can shift our perspective to see that even those antagonizing experiences are there. In fact, they're there for our elevation and our development and our blessing, but they're like raw material to do something with. In fact, it goes further. It packs more of a punch even than when things come easier or in more obvious ways. And so this requires surrender and trust that the Creator has a plan, and the Creator's within all things, and the Creator's all powerful. So do I feel like, if I feel like everything that I'm seeing, something's gone wrong, then I don't trust that the Creator is all powerful and is sitting right there. It's like when you think about students in a driver's ed car, like we didn't have these kinds of cars in my high school, but I know that they exist or existed. So there's like the student driver is in the traditional driver's seat, and then the teacher is sitting in the front passenger seat, but they have a brake and an emergency steering wheel if they need it to take over, right? But the student is in control. The teacher is there. If there is an absolute emergency, they can intervene. But the point is for the student to be able to face, this intimidating situation and become more comfortable and get practice. So we are sitting here and we are seeing how all of these things in our life have actually, led us to this point. And we're starting to get more clarity around what in the context of life do we have control over, which is not much. So where's our free will? If we have basically a plotted out script that we're going to come to these checkpoints, where is the free will? Well, therein lies the free will in how you show up and navigate life and your day-to-day and your comings and goings and your interrelations with people. When you see that we're all really one under the surface and we're all connected, but we're expressing these individual experiences, then we start to see how it all fits together, and we start resisting less, and we see when we're holding on to our agenda and holding on to our idea of how we want things to be, we realize we're only setting ourselves up for a limited experience that can offer unlimited disappointments because we want it to be this one thing. Whereas if we want to align with our ultimate destiny, then we trust that that's pretty much where God's trying to get us to go, and our internal guidance is getting us to go. It's just that we doubt that that's going to be in alignment with what we want. It's like the ego is like, no, that's going to be a boring path. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. You want this, shiny object over here. And so the shining object over here never leads to ultimate fulfillment. It never leads to long-term value. And so the significance of these cards is that copper is associated with Venus and Aphrodite, and on the where Aphrodite is from, they would mine this copper and they would create these vessels, right? And the vessel, right? We are the vessel, and we are creating a vessel that is refined enough to channel the light of the Creator. And when we do that, that really ultimately leads us to our ultimate legacy and destiny and highest level of fulfillment and long-term fulfillment and long-term value, rather than short-term satisfaction that really dissipates and leads to nothing in the end. So 10 of Pentacles, long-term value, our legacy, our long-term vision, what we are building for the long haul, right? True value, building the vessel that will yield long-term value here. And again, back to that vessel, when we have the whole point of preparing and correcting the vessel is that so we can become less like the ego and bear more affinity with God. And when we do that, then our soul sheds the soot and the resin and the layers that keep it separate from our spirit. And our spirit is the pristine personality of the self that is still, it reflects the fullness of what God imagined for us without any dings or smudges or mistakes. Nothing has touched or impacted the spirit. It has not been diluted or contaminated in any way by incorrect consciousness. Whereas the soul is the thing that we're working with lifetime after lifetime to refine it, to purify it of those our lesser instincts, and instead transcend those lesser instincts and become shape ourselves in the image of our higher self, so that our soul and our spirit can come into union as one, and then come into union with God, returning to paradise, returning to that Garden of Eden where we have right-minded thinking and not wrong-minded thinking. So sulfur, whilst it is smelly and unpleasant, it is very healing, right? So we see how the unpleasantness of life was a process that led us to ultimate healing, to refine our vessel to be able to receive the light of God, not just for the sake of ourselves, but for the sake of sharing. So then we become a conduit for easeful and graceful and harmonious giving and receiving. And that's what opens us up to receive and channel blessings and share blessings. Whereas if we, when our vessel is closed, blessings are flowing down, but they're just spilling out because there's no way to receive them, right? When we're clenched up in fear or miserliness or greed or, competitiveness or whatever the ego's inclination is that cuts us off from receiving our blessing, it bears no affinity with the light, right? And so, again, we see life with more radical responsibility of taking responsibility to be the best that we can and to put in maximum effort. We have the humility of knowing that the true source of all power and all that is not us, but the Creator. And so it's like it gives us the ability to surrender and trust and get out of the way, do our best, and have equally radical responsibility with like deep humility and appreciation for it all, the good times, the hard times, the weird times. Everything in between has made a complex beautiful bloom with depth, right? So hopefully that gives you some context for what might be fermenting within, but it is actually yielding positive results on the outside and really, truly blessing. And I'll also have to say that I've been reading my Tikkun Zohar, which is the commentary on the Zohar, which is the deepest commentary on the Bible, all week. And even though we've been slow in the restaurant, I've been doing really well. Every night I've gone in, there have been extra blessings. So I just had to give that credit to God for channeling that light through. But because I've been, following that mitzvah, that practice of opening my vessel and connecting with particularly the Aramaic language, which is a language that the angels and devils and demons don't speak. It's a direct connection to us and God. Without, the angelic realm, even the positive angels can act as sort of IRS agents, and they can check our records to see if we're worthy of the prayers that we're asking. So if you want to bypass your audit, then scanning ancient wisdom or scripture that's written in Aramaic every day is a really good security measure and a really good way to invest your efforts and grow those efforts with interest. All right, let me know what's up in your life. What are you realizing? What are you going through? What's going on? For my wonderful LGBTQ people out there, happy Pride Month. I hope you're having some fun times and good events that you're going to. I haven't been able to go to anything yet, and I always do. I'm an ally, proud participant in this month. So hopefully something comes up and some fun plans, but I hope y'all are enjoying it. Ciao.